I think Alex will be along later. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the journey through NJO. Today's book is Destiny's Way. So first off, I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this book. Starting with, Yiannis.
All right. I really enjoyed it when I read it. I feel that it's a book which is very full in the sense that a lot of things happen in it, and there's a lot of progression, a lot of characters from the Bantam era and otherwise, like Kin Farlander, who I'm using as my icon for today, appear in this book.
Nice.
And this book is also accompanied by the ebook Alesia, which we will also talk about.
Yeah, I've gone through that already. Which I gotta disagree with you, Walrus. I actually quite enjoyed Alesia. But okay, so Walrus, what was your thoughts on Destiny's Way?
It was pretty good. It gets a lot of things done.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't want to go into detail as we're getting into that, but
yeah, we'll get into the detail with the plots. How about you, Net?
I always like a book where things actually happen, and we had a triumphant return. Well, maybe not so triumphant, but there were important characters that actually died. Shit happened. It was a good book.
Yeah, that's the one death I didn't see was going to be here. That actually kind of like caught me a little off guard. I was kind of expecting it because I'm like, it's got to happen within these next couple of books, but it happened. So I'm like, all right.
Yep.
Yeah. And then
one thing that always really annoys me in really anything is plot armor. And
yeah,
and that's why even if I don't want a character to die, I'm happy to see it happen occasionally.
Yeah. Well, it shows you got stakes because you had Chewbacca's spoilers obviously if you've been following this far. You had Chewbacca's end in Vector Prime. You had Elagos Akla in the Dark Tide duology. You had Han Solo's old friend Lul, even though she died off screen. I'm hoping I pronounced that name correctly. Balance Point, you had like a random Hut character die. It wasn't major, but it was still someone going. You had Ikrit dying in the Edge of Victory duology, even though he was only around for the Junior Jedi Knight period. Then you had Anakin's death. So yeah, it is nice that there is legit stakes in this series because even though I know she's going to be all right for the next couple of books around, I can kind of feel a lot of the fears that Jaina's feeling about the inevitability of dying. Even though she doesn't seem to be afraid, she's just kind of like in this weird stage of acceptance for it. But
yeah,
as far as my thoughts on this book, I've probably said it multiple times. Breath of fresh air. And I wanted to bring this. I know I just brought this up with Yiannis in the background, but I'm gonna bring it up here for the thing. So, the last 4 books have been, Dark Journey, the Enemy Lines duology, and Traitor, which have been mid or good. And just like I was telling Yiannis backstage, so far, every NJO book has either been mid or good. There hasn't been one that's been like, this book sucks to me. It's just been like, oh, that was okay. And then, oh, that was amazing. Like those are so far the only 2 reactions. But I was trying to figure out, the past couple, ever since Star by Star, the past couple NJO books have been like a little less interesting, even when they're great. And I was trying to figure out why. And then it didn't start in Destiny's Way, but it actually kind of started to happen, I think, roughly around the time of the Enemy Lines duology. And then, like, by Traitor, I was just like, okay, yeah, there's more of this. And my issue corely is that all those books are technically epilogues to Star by Star. And I asked the question, did we really need a 4-book epilogue for Star by Star? Did we really need these 4 books? So when I finally got to Destiny's Way and the plot and story is moving, things are going, I'm like, okay, it's about time. And I'm not trying to. I do kind of see what Alex was talking about, how the series feels too long. Most people think it feels too long by this book or by the Force Heretic trilogy was next. But for me, the series felt long with all those epilogues, because I went through most of I powered through Agents of Chaos and Balance Point. I loved Dark Tide and Edge of Victory because it was all build up to the big fall at Star by Star. And so, it all felt worth it. But we have a couple of epilogues after Star by Star and nothing plot wise except for maybe the Lusankia crashing into a Vong fleet is really happening. And until this book. This book is where stuff started to happen. So I'll go ahead and get to my notes now. So quick recap. We already know what happened the previous 4 books, so we don't have to worry about that. So Han feels Leia assures Han that Jason is alive. Yeah. Han, Leia escort Imperial Ambassador Vanna Dorja in negotiations. They believe Dorja is spying, which she obviously was. They discuss civilly about Leia leaving politics, how the Emperor would have handled the Vong. And then they get attacked by the Vong. Which, again, even though this is just kind of like a basic, oh, hey, Iron, what's up, man? That's Iron in the comments. Even though this is just kind of like a basic starting...
Hey there.
Starting point, Han lures them in. They get help from Dorja, and then I think Jag Fell's team shows up and gives them a hand. He's like, I know your daughter. I give her my regards next time you see her. And I don't know if Han knows, because I think if Han knew, he might be furious. So Jag explains, most seasons pilots were broken up from main squadrons, teach lesser experience. That makes sense. Yeah, I remember that detail. Jag explains Han and Leia and Dorja the benefits and so yeah, one of the things they started discussing when they got to Bastion was, what does the Empire have to gain with joining the New Republic right now? In the short term, they could make an alliance with the Yuuzhan Vong and, hope that they don't eventually attack them. But in the long term, they're like, right now, the New Republic doesn't have much. They don't even have a leader right now. Which is true, because, let's face it, nobody respects Senator Plo.
No.
The
rightly so.
No, nobody respects this idiot. So his career is basically over after the loss at Borlias, and so the scene ends up shifting to Luke talking with Senator Fior Roden. Now, I don't know how big a character this guy's going to be later on, if at all, but at first I was kind of pissed at his anti-Jedi sentiment, but then I heard his reasons and I'm like, okay, he kind of has a few points. The Jedi are like an outsider religious group that take money funding from the New Republic and don't really contribute anything. I mean, you have Kip's Dozen and you have Jaina and who was it? You have Jaina and
and her
Cor-
squadron.
yeah, and Corn Horn flying for the New Republic as like legit pilots in like Rogue Squadron. And then you have all of the Jedi that follow her into battle. But like for the most part, like because the Jedi don't officially have jobs in the military, they don't follow a traditional chain of command. I can kind of understand, even if I disagree with Roden, I can kind of understand where he's coming from. And I feel like that the stuff that's happening here is going to set the tone for the future books. Because I know how people start. I only know a little bit, but I know how people start treating the Jedi in future books.
Yep.
It was a lot of the similar aspect. I don't think Fuhrer Roden would have been a fan of the Old Republic and how the Jedi kind of worked in that system, because they weren't under the Senate, but at the same time they were. It was kind of a weird, contradictory state to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, then they start discussing their ideal candidate, because he starts talking with Mara, and I guess they don't show it, but they heavily imply it that him and Mara got after Luke's discussion with Roden, because he's frustrated with what's going on, but at the same time he can see Fuhrer Roden's point. He's like, yeah, maybe we do need some sort of oversight, and that's when he finally gets around to talking with Cal Omos about, like, hey, if you win the election, we really need to establish a Jedi Council, because there needs to be some level of jurisdiction. So let's see. Let's back to my notes. So they initially talk about. Like, what is the term I'm looking for? They initially talk about. Dang it, I just had it. Sorry, I lose a thought. Oh, that's right. They initially talk about potentially adding Cal Omos to the Insiders. Their little rebel alliance that they formed within the New Republic, because they need to do things outside of New Republic jurisdiction. And again, this is another aspect that the current canon kind of stole from the expanded universe. A resistance within the New Republic, because the New Republic is crippled.
Yep.
Mind you, they're not politically crippled, but
And that's a tale as old as time, having them steal from the expanded universe.
Yeah. And then the exact thought came into my head. Luke senses that Jason is alive, and in the book he calls it the turning point. To me, I pretty much just quoted Gandalf from Lord of the Two Towers, which was I come back to you now at the turn of the tide. I'm like this, and he's not the only one who mentions the concept of a turning tide.
Yep.
And then it goes to Jaina and Loie under the command of Kian Farlander, which again, I think this is the first time I've seen him in a book, because I don't think I ever played the Starfighter games. And I know he was that extra rebel pilot, the Y-Wing pilot at the Death Star. I know that was the original retcon.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, the Y-Wing that's leaving with Wedge's X-Wing, Luke's X-Wing, and Han's Falcon. That's Kian Farlander.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I gotta ask, where was his medal? Where was his medal?
Yeah. Well,
he
Wedge
made it
didn't
out
get a
too.
medal. Chewie didn't get a medal.
Yeah, Wedge didn't get a medal either. Just these two randos that popped out of nowhere.
Yep.
So yeah, Jaina they go to the library to borrow a sky to try and kill Supreme Overlord Shimra. Jaina does her whole trickster goddess thing. She senses Jason alive, but she's unsure if it's indeed him because she has to focus on the battle. She kind of has to put Jason out of her mind. So she senses the Vong adapting until she realizes that the fleet that they're attacking has a second Yamosk because they found a method to jam the Yamosks, obviously in the previous books, and now they're adapting it with their whole like Jedi Force meld concept, which allows the Jedi to fly better and command troops better.
Yep.
Cornhorn gives her assurance. Try to shoot some Assyria, jammer. Suddenly the Vong ships fire on each other, which Jaden has sent decoy bays. Yeah, that's right. She in her ship, the trickster goddess, she has like these decoy dolphin basils that release the jammers, so the Yamosks make the Vong think that they're fighting enemies. So you have coral skippers shooting at coral skippers, and it's beautiful to see. So I'm like, oh wow, they've really found a tactic that's helping them win this. And
you want to hold your cat so they can put waters in or something?
yeah, can you guys hang on? I know I'm in the middle of this, but my mom needs help with waters. So
Yep, that's
pluck
fine.
amongst
Go ahead.
yourselves.
Okay.
But yeah, have I mentioned that Data is my favorite character in Star Wars?
I didn't know about
yeah.
it, so. Yeah. Talking about Keen Farlander, this book is the first time he really gets a character, and if a character at that. He's still like, what many people would call a glub shadow. This, random side character who shows up in the background for like 2 seconds and people obsess over him.
Yes.
Yeah, before that he was really just like a placeholder for the player to play as in the X-Wing games.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hold my cat in here because they need the water for the garage. So yeah, so according to my notes, so yeah, I've been listening, by the way. So yeah, they take out. I know they take out the Republic cruiser because the tide turns in the battle. No.
All right, wait. So I think Kanazo might be having some connection errors right now.
Possibly.
Yeah. What can we talk about?
Oh yeah, yes he is.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, eventually when
you know it's bad when the host disappears.
Yep. Right. So.
I apologize for that. The call just dropped me while I was checking my notes. So basically, so basically, they're like, "Yay! We took out Supreme Overlord Shimra. We're one step closer to ending this war." And then they get like a thing from like the New Republic saying Intel dropped the ball, and they only thought that was Supreme Overlord Shimra.
Mm-hmm.
Stay here.
Whoopsie.
Turns out it was another high up Vong enforcer, but we got him, so yeah.
So that's good, right?
It's like, okay. Hold on a sec. Hold on. You got all the waters? Okay, because I just put her back in the garage. All right. But yeah, like I'm sorry about this.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine.
So yeah, so they hear about Beyond in a bit doing some laundry. Okay, Alex. So let's see. So yeah, they get the whole thing, and I forgot. Oh, that's what I forgot. They had an unexpected ally. Tenel Ka flew in a Hapen fleet and gave them the extra wind and strength to break the back of the enemy fleet.
Those guys are
Which
kind
was
of
awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, like, despite how much they lost with Tenel Ka in charge, the Hapens, excuse me, they have been solid in their fight, and Tenel Ka just wants to ensure, because despite being a Jedi and despite technically being the Queen Mother right now, you know, technically she's not supposed to be out there, and she's not supposed to be using her people's military forces. But let me see.
Yeah.
Jaina and
It's like,
Farland are
nope,
agreed by Tenel
this has
Ka.
to happen.
Jaina explains her goddess status to her friend. Farlander offers aid to the Hoppins, but cannot promise because of his superiors. Oh yeah, and they finally bring back. They haven't brought him back completely yet, but they mentioned that he's mourning on Bothawui for Sphalia, but Trust Krafi is starting to come back, and boy, did I miss this guy. The only downside, though, and this is the only dangerous part, he declares in a cry, which for the Bothans is like, we are going to fight this enemy until we've completely genocided them.
Yep, to the knife.
that is literally what Necry is for the Bothans. Is that like when somebody has made them like this upset, they literally go straight like eugenics level.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, what? So yeah, Jason reaches out to everyone, and Vergier counsels him, and she explains, she explains a lesson to him. I forgot what the lesson, but it was a good one. Then she explains her time on Zunama Sakat, and here's an interesting aspect. I'll bring up this point again, but so she, and I'll definitely bring it up when I want to bring up a particular defense for Kip Duran, by the way. So she basically tells him that she decided to leave with the Vong, with the Far Outsiders, so that she could study their culture. What I find interesting is that she felt no moral obligation to steal a ship, come back, and warn the galaxy of the coming threat. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, she said to just go with, not bother warning anybody.
Oh yeah, I put this in my god awful potentium philosophy mentioned, and that philosophy is god awful. The potentium, I despise the potentium.
Right.
See, she talks about her time with the Vong. Jason are about to arrive in the Republic. Nominor's on Yuzantar with Lord Shimra, and they have like this whole discussion. I guess most of the Vong, because of what Jason meddled with the world brain, are suffering from like a rash. So Nominor and most of the others are like trying hard not to scratch in place of the Supreme Overlord, which it's not mentioned in this chapter. It's mentioned in a later chapter. But apparently Shimra has what's called rainbow eyes. with like his like messed up scarred face, and I'm like, how does that even work? Like he looks at you and like you get a pink gaze and then a yellow one. I'm like, and then a green. I'm like, how does that even work? So, but basically, he's got like these creepy rainbow eyes with his hulking mass form, and of course, you've got the little jester Onimi by his side going.
Mm-hmm.
It's this little annoying hyena jackal that mocks everybody, except for the Supreme Overlord. He can't mock the Supreme Overlord because that would probably land him in a world of pain.
That doesn't quite have the protection of the royal gestures. Not quite.
Yeah. So Luke, Mara, and Cal Omos discuss Pure Rodin's anti-Jedi speech and what they're going to do about the whole God, what's the term I'm looking for here? Like what they're going to do about their like not just his whole issue and philosophy with the Jedi, but like what they're going to do about their whole political campaign. And I think Luke and Mara discuss like the concept of like kind of distancing themselves from Cal, so he doesn't look like a Jedi like pawn or something. Yeah. And they said I know they talk about, I think either Card or Lando start bringing up the concept of like political espionage. Luke senses Jason and Vergier using Vong discuss leadership position. Oh yeah. So Savang Law gets, or not Savang Law, but Shimra gets really upset at Savang Law about how many resources him and Nominor have wasted. He's like, we have. I didn't even realize this, but I guess the Battle of Coruscant, Yuuzhan'tar now to them, has cost them a lot. Not to mention some of the forces they lost. I guess a third of their fleet that they brought with them is now dead.
Yep. They
still
actually
leaves
have, even though everyone sees them as being overpowering, they actually have overextended themselves at this point.
No, they have, because Shimra offers the suggestion saying basically once a warrior reaches like the age of like 15 or 16, they need to start mating. I'm like, dang, are you guys that low on reinforcements?
Yep.
But I guess they are. Because as far as I'm aware, other than like some of their like Flesh Raider, not Flesh Raider, but like their slave casts in the Peace Brigade, as well as whatever they've got in reserve now, like this is this battle cost them.
Oh yeah.
I think to be fair, you can kind of blame Savang Law a little bit for it, because he had that weird political machination against Shadao Shai very early on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you destroyed a complete domain just so you could raise your position. So Shimra discusses New Republic and wants to assassinate Cal Omos. Makes sense. He's a Jedi sympathizer to them. So he casts blame of what happened with Jason on Nominor. Nominor and Harar in his defense, strangely enough. Because normally he would only come to like the aid of like, say, his friend Savang Law. They were talking about, Vergier's cunning. None of us saw her betrayal coming. We thought she was just another servant, a familiar.
Yep.
And Shimra, surprisingly, is actually impressed by Vergier's cunning. I'm like, yeah, she's a trickster, a mastermind. You know, you gotta. She may very well be a better she may very well be a better orientation of the trickster goddess than Jaina to some degree.
Yeah.
So one of the things that they discuss heresy. Oh yeah. So the workers, as well as the shamed ones, as well as some of the slave castes, have begun to worship the Jedi as true emissaries to the gods more than the Supreme Overlord. And obviously, this is
How can you blame them? I mean, the shamed ones are shamed. They're like they're being told you're nothing, you're bad, you're everything, and then the Jedi are like, hey, there's another way. So yeah.
And something I guess it's Nominor's boss, you Skell. He's like, we need to be careful that we don't like start pointing the finger at each other for like how things have been going. He says this is a time of transition for our people. He says we've just conquered Yujantar, and of course the world. We don't know exactly what the Jedi did, but the world is turning against us in subtle ways. Anyways,
So this
Shimmer
whole
agrees
concept
no
of
invest.
shamed one sort of worshipping the Jedi began an edge of victory with Vorapung sacrificing himself to save Anakin Solo.
Oh yeah, no, that's when the seeds were initially planted, but they've been growing ever since.
Exactly. There's a
The way the Jedi wiped out the was it the Vornsker nest, not the Vornsker, God, what were they called? The things that the Voxen, yeah. The way they wiped out the Voxen Queen and the Voxen nest, how heroically they stood against the Vong throughout most of their journey. It makes sense that the shamed ones, because technically one shamed one was redeemed by a Jedi, so they consider the Jedi their whole redemption. So Shimmer agrees no investigation until after the war, but punishment and sacrifice will be given for her. Yeah, that makes sense. That's right. So Chigung Hul, the Vong that was in charge of the World Brain, or supposed to be in charge, the one that Matthew Stover wrote, Shimmer just decides to sacrifice and execute him, and everyone's fully in agreement with that because he blew it, as far as they're concerned. And so Nominor is beginning to get worried about this whole situation. See, Luke and Mara watch a drunk Findian verb. Oh yeah, so there's Luke and Mara are starting to worry about mutiny because there are divisions within the military now breaking because of how messy and screwed up things are getting. You know, there's drunk. Oh, my mom needs something. Hang on. So anyway, you have drunk pilots basically saying, oh, there's Senator Coward who, fled while people were dying and friends were dying, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's never good.
Well, can you blame them considering what happened?
Oh no, but I'm just saying that's kind of a thing you need to pay attention to.
But yeah, Luke and Mara are like, okay, yeah, this is not good. And so finally, they're introduced. Jason returns home, and they're introduced to Vergier finally, And of course, Luke and Mara are incredibly skeptical of her because the last time they heard from her, she was with the Vong. So they have, I think it was Nilay Kirker or something like that, the head of intelligence, basically check her out. So she's basically under house arrest. Luke and Mara meet with the retired Admiral Akbar, who's being cared for by Winter. There's that joke about people shipping them, of course.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's evident in the book.
Oh, and I just have to comment here, or because of Last Jedi, yay for Admiral Akbar having such a huge impact in the expanded universe, as opposed to, oh no, I died.
Oh my god, yeah. So Akbar, he's not even dead yet. He's retired. He needs like a fish tank, just to stay alive because he requires more moisture. But surprisingly, his mind is still sharp, even if his body is failing him.
Yes.
And so they come to him asking if he can, like, what's the term I'm looking for? Like set up a strategy, a way to defeat the Vong, which makes sense. You turn to like an old ally, and he talks about how he misses Mon Mothma. So let's see. Han and Leia arrive at Bastion. Han and Leia meet with Pelion, which makes sense. Of course, they would meet with Pelion. He tells them a transmission from the New Republic that Jason is alive. Leia requests to use the core system bases in exchange for all Vong intel. Then they have dinner together. Which, by the way, like, Pelion is still such a classy guy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know people. Some people like to disparage like Imperials turning into like honorable people, but I'm like, I can still kind of see it. I can see like honorable Imperials.
I have no problem with that, actually. To be honest, the corruption of the Imperials was with Palpatine and that stuff. That doesn't mean that if you take away the corruption at the top, that there can't be good that comes out of it.
Yeah. So they get into a whole discussion about like, Pelion liking flowers and stuff like that. So it was a nice little scene where they're like, like, oh, you Imperials aren't so bad, and like, oh, you Rebels aren't so bad,
Yeah.
And then we get this thing where Nominor disguises. I think he disguises either as a worker or a shamed one, and
I think it was as a worker, if I remember correctly.
yeah, he goes into the Domatech. And they get like an address from High Priest Jaqen, mentioning, oh, you need to avoid doing this, you need to avoid doing this. And he realizes the heretics are just going to use this as a way of showing outwardly that they are, loyal Vong, while they'll still continue their heresies backwards, And then there was something he was discussing with like another. There's like a servant of like basically a worker caste, like a servant of like the priestly caste, and they talk about how like Supreme Overlord Shimra is looking for, or is trying to make something called an eighth cortex, which is like something vital he'll need for the world brain, and he's got Onimi retrieving it while Nenyim, if you guys remember her, obviously, is trying to work on it. And Nominor actually comes to the insane realization, at least to him anyway, that the gods are fake.
Yep.
And that this whole thing has been running on bullshit. And he's like, okay, I need to keep up the lie, or we're all screwed. Our way of life is doomed. So he's like, I really hope that Shimra finds the cortex, because if he doesn't, the Vong are doomed.
Yeah.
Our whole warrior way is screwed. Jaina and her forces arrive at Kashyyyk. Jaina and Farland. So yeah, Trask Kraffi finally comes back, and Kraffi informs her that her brother is indeed alive, and Jaina starts blaming herself for cutting everybody off, including her brother. Because again, she's taking everything personal now. So Cal Omos, so yeah, then we do Cal Omos press conference, his firm conviction in Luke Skywalker and all they do, and I guess Kraffi, I'm not sure when he does it. I think it might be later, but I think either later in the book or roughly around this time, he sends Jaina on a leave of absence for two reasons. One, go to Mon Calamari, visit your family, spend time. Two, I want you to go to your Master Skywalker and recruit more Jedi. Because your Jedi battle meld is working so well with our forces that it's giving us an edge against the Yuuzhan Vong. So I'm like, yeah, this is the strategy. And this is kind of what I mean why things are moving in this book, is that stuff is actually happening. Things are actually moving forward.
Yep.
Both the people of the New Republic and the Yuuzhan Vong seem to believe that they're at a turning point, and that something big will happen that will determine the fate of the war going forward. So what a lot of people don't want to realize is that this book is pretty vital. Like, it's a lot more vital than they're willing to give it credit, because apparently what happens in this book will actually determine how the war goes from this point forward.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, if you'd asked me about this book with just the name Destiny's Way, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that, because you know how I am with whichever book it is in the series. It all melts together. But with what's actually happening here, this is one of the turning points of the series.
Yeah. So let's see. Luke speaks to Vergere. Luke is angry, and rightly so, over what happened to Jason. Vergere claims to have regrets on how she taught him. She compares arrogantly what happened to him was similar to Luke, even challenges Luke to punish her for it. Luke tells Jason to spend time in the Force with his friends in order to help keep him away from Vergere's influence. Luke and Vergere trade questions. Vergere explains her philosophy to Luke. I had a personal note about this. It's flawed but understandable, but she still failed to understand the dangers of progression to the uninitiated and the dangers of line stepping that can easily turn into crossing. She implies those who control emotions are machines. Note, but insulting to R2 and 3PO. No, because like Vergere has been like that big, frustrating, contradictory character that everybody says you should love, but I can't like her. I don't hate her, but I still don't like her either.
To be fair, I have never liked her. I value her role in all this, but I've never found myself a way to like her.
Yeah, well, I had this question in Trader, and because people are so like, oh, Jason would never fall to the dark side. That's not in his character. And I'm like,
Nah.
Do you understand how the progression of the dark side works? Now, again, I offered this question. Like, let's say hypothetically, for the sake of argument, that Vergere really was trying to teach Jason a good lesson, grow him up a bit, so he's not so hesitant. She introduced the concept of transgression to him, which is sometimes it's okay to cross a line to, help and protect people you care about, that sort of thing. But though Vergere herself might know limits to that line, might know the difference between stepping too far over that line to the dark, Jason might not have such a compulsion. And I asked the question, how does she know that Jason is like her?
Yeah.
That he won't take a line and cross it again and then find justifications to cross further over that line. Because once you have a justification to cross over that first line, if you don't control yourself, if you don't stop yourself, you're going to keep crossing over and over and over and further along that line. You're going to find, and the reasons will feel justifiable to you. They will feel, well, if I do this, if I can get this, if I do this, I can achieve this. it's and George Lucas had like the best perspective when he was talking about like, you know, how progression of the dark side works is, you know, well,
Yep.
you know, if I, you know, kill the emperor, I can take over the galaxy. I can, you know, cheat life, or cheat death. I can, you know, I can make everything the way I want it. And you're never truly satisfied with that first line step. You always habitually step the line further and further. And I think of examples of other people that tried to toe this line. Quinlan Voss, for example, in the Republic comics. He stepped over the line quite a few times, even claimed he had gone completely over to the dark side when he hadn't, but he was still in danger, like major danger. There was a time he almost killed Aayla Secura. There was a time he literally just watched another Jedi die in pain. Someone he had known before, someone he'd even loved before. And the dark side does messed up things to you. And again, I understand what people are they're trying to say that the Force is a whole, that there is no light side, no dark side. I'm like, well, the Force itself is the light side. The dark side is the corruption and the cancer. Now, before anybody jumps down my throat about that, I'm going to explain this particular detail. Whether people want to admit it or not, cancers, you know, misshapen growths, those happen normally in life. Just like a predator hunting a prey, that happens normally in life.
Yep.
Just because it's a natural part of life doesn't make it right, doesn't make it okay, does not make it good. Just because you step over a line does not mean you will not step over that line again, or even further across that line, or even worse. If you found one justification, you can find another. And so that's
And this is most exemplified in Jason. And you haven't seen it yet, but you're already seeing what is to come.
Yeah, well, again, I know I don't know how it happens, but I know Jason falls, and the reason why I'm open to the concept of, because everybody says, you know, oh, Denningverse, even though Alston, you know, dropped it first with Legacy of the Force, but
he falls for almost the best reasons, if that makes any sense.
Well, I know when I looked at a Matt Wilkins review about it, he talked about how he's like, he wouldn't so simply like lose control in the dark side the way his grandfather did. I'm like, you idiots. That's my first thought. You idiot. Just by having that egotistical thought, you've already damned yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not saying he didn't fall. I'm just saying let's just say the road to hell is paved with good intentions is very much.
Alex is here finally. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome back, son.
So hold on a sec. Oops. I'm gonna hang on. Go to my next note. So Luke meets with Lando and Talon Card, find out dirt on Rodin. I guess Rodin is squeaky clean, but his brother was a smuggler. Luke is uncomfortable with how cozy smugglers and politicians are, and I know Lando and Card, which that's a strange duo. I never thought I'd be seeing in this book, which is Lando and Card.
Really?
But
I mean,
well, like
that would actually
I know they.
that
Sorry, go
made
ahead.
sense to me.
Well, here's the thing. I know they'd be associated, considering like Mara was pretty much a go-between between them when she was still during her smuggler days. But like, what's the term I'm looking for? But like, I guess because I've seen their partnership in the Back to War between him and Booster Tarek. I guess him being with Lando just a little bit kind of caught me off guard. Not in a bad way, just like this would be an interesting duo to watch. Let's see what they do.
Okay.
And it was an interesting duo to watch. Second. Jaina receives a message from Jason. Jaina and Kip discuss War of the Dark Side. Jason. Kip makes incredible. Oh yeah. So Kip, this is still fresh off of Kip's redemption arc in Dark Journey. Actually, hold on, redemption arc. Because I'm sorry, I don't think he needed one. I still don't think he needed one. I feel like that was just trying to make the fans say, look, we made Kip Duran good. Like, as though years of him like working as a Jedi wouldn't make him good, but I digress. Luke, Mara, and Jason visit Winter and Akbar. They discuss tactics, old times. Akbar is dying. Jason comforts Winter about Anakin. Yeah, that was a nice moment. I'm not gonna lie. Like throughout all this book and the wars, like Winter has seen like everybody die, and her fondest memories were babysitting Anakin on New Alderaan when he was little.
Yeah.
So like Jason kind of giving her that comfort of like how much it meant to him. Like that was a really nice moment. Jaina and the fleet meet side to rescue a damaged cruiser and not seize this. Oh yeah, so they went after this cruiser. I think it was I can't remember the name of the cruiser. So Jaina is nervous about her. She's obviously because she's still going through that whole I guess you would call it survivor's guilt. Because she's not sure if she's going to make it. She's not sure if any of her pilots are going to make it. So she's like, "Oh, you know, if I'm not in charge 100% of the time, like I can understand where she's kind of coming from. It's a lot of responsibility that not other people are putting on her, but she herself is putting on her shoulders. So it's interesting. Like early on, I wasn't like the biggest fan of Jaina, but she's starting to grow on me with just how much problems she's having. She has kind of like a weird military detachedness. I mean, she nearly freaks out because she thinks she's going to lose her squad mate Vale, which is like this Nemoidian girl under her command, and they get rescued by another military unit last minute. So she's like, okay, we just barely made it out of that one. Yeah, Jaina contemplates losses. Nominor investigates Vong's heretics while listening to Jockin's decree. So yeah, this is the public decree, the Cortex. Yeah. Yeah, Nominor learns Shimra and the gods are fake. So he got the Stargate SG-1 treatment. Your gods are fake. Here's an MK or MP5.
Yep.
That's a private joke I have with Annihilus. So
but I see it. I can
because
see that one.
We've been watching SG-1, so
Always
Luke and Vergier.
It's always a good watch.
All right, so Luke and Vergier continue asking questions. Vergier shows Luke how Yiannis works by pairing his mental force abilities. Vergier claims Luke is egotistical and a nursemaid for taking responsibility as a master for the paths his students take. And my personal note is, as if her bullcrap philosophy isn't her ego. Luke realized she's trying to get a rise out of him. They discuss if Palpatine was a genius or comically silly for choosing the darkness. I'm like, maybe he was just evil.
Yeah.
This is also the book where her philosophy is a bit muddled because I don't think John Williams talked to Stover about it, and she comes off way more Jedi-like in this one, despite her arguments with Jason. She comes off way more Jedi-like than she did in pretty much all of her other encounters. So even though she has,
I don't know. Other than Traitor, she was pretty Jedi-like in most of her encounters.
I don't know if you remember in Star by Star, she was a bit weird with some of the few moments she popped up, but she got mad at Jaina for using the dark side. So it's like, that is very Jedi-like. But I don't know. It's a weird thing where especially going from Traitor to this one, just feels a bit inconsistent.
I don't know. For me, her philosophy feels perfectly in line. It's that same. It's that same gray potentium garbage.
Yeah.
I put Purell on my hands as I say this, as if washing my hands of the disgusting potentium philosophy. And so they talk about how the Force doesn't take sides. That doesn't change that it has a dark side, I say to myself. I know what they're trying to push with these or what Vergier's trying to push. I'm like, I do agree with her that individuals have light and dark sides, but so does the damn Force. I'm sorry. I know you want it to be one whole thing, and it is, but it does have a darkness to it, whether you want to admit it or not. And to say that it doesn't have a darkness to it, just like it has a light to it, is limiting the Force.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a whole push by the entire team that wrote New Jedi Order, because by the time you get to Unifying Force, it becomes crystal clear what they were trying to do throughout the whole 19-book series to ultimately change the idea of the Force by the end of it all. And then they immediately backtrack afterwards, and that pisses off a lot of people, but that's because it's more in line with what Lucas wanted. So
yeah, I think the only reason they backtrack is because that's what Lucas. See, I think a lot of people have like issue with Troy Denning because he backtracks, but I'm like, I spoke to Lucino at the 2025 con, and he mentions that he wanted to make Plagueis a more gray individual, not so evil. And Lucasfilm put the kibosh on it. They straight up said, no, he's evil, he's bad, make him bad.
Yeah.
So if you guys have if these people have an issue with Troy Denning, maybe they should look at who was telling Troy Denning, no, you can't make Jason nuanced. You have to make him bad.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he, but it's just the philosophy of the Force goes back to what it usually is. So that's all.
You mean the traditional black and white, the philosophy that George Lucas said it's supposed to be?
Yeah, basically. Well,
I get what people wanted, but you know, there's like an expression. It's like God.
Make your own franchise then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think people misunderstood when I said I'm definitely not against gray storytelling. It's just really hard to do with Star Wars if you're trying to write Jedi.
I think it can be done in Star Wars, just not in. When you deal with the Force, you deal with the Jedi. You're dealing with the cosmology of this universe. Because there may
Yeah.
not be a God in Star Wars, but the Force, by all intentions, is the God of the franchise.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
projected
you
to that.
notice
know.
I never complain about the morally gray stuff that happens in like the X-wing books with like
Yeah.
Wedge, and I never complain about the
Not
stuff
as
that Booster Tarek or Talon Card does.
Yeah.
Because individuals are gray and they choose good and evil,
Yeah.
but
The
the Force
But-
does not work that way. If you think
What-
it works that way, you're either delusional like Vergir and Kreia. No offense.
Well, Kreia just doesn't like that the Force has a will, and she doesn't like that she feels like she has no free will because of the Force.
I don't like that I have
Yes.
no free will. I'm going to kill the Force. Wah, 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 wah.
I know. It's actually the opposite of the gear, though. It's a
I'm sorry, but Kreia sounds like an effing baby.
Kreia thinks not.
I don't like how the galaxy works. Tough. Grow up.
Yes. We'll play we'll play in KOTOR. It's like, I choose this way. She disapproves. You choose the other way. She disapproves. Like,
Can't make her happy. It's possible.
What-
I made her happy
What-
once. I was shocked that I did.
yeah.
She does love you. You're the exile. She does love you. So we have that.
Yes. I love you that you're a contradiction like me. Anyway,
But
so
no,
yeah,
I just think throughout this after Trader especially, and as we move forward, you kind of just have this like before is a little bit more subtle, then there's sort of like this big push to kind of be like, oh, see, this is what the Force really is. It's this unifying force that we're trying to show you in these books. That was a huge effort on all the different authors to kind of make this be a thing. Well, mainly Lucino, because he was the leader of all of this, but
well,
he
a lot
wanted-
of these people that want to push like the whole morally gray thing, owe Kip Duran an apology.
yeah, right.
Because a lot of people complained about how he did things, and it's not now, but later in the book when the council is established, Luke tells him, "Oh yeah, there's an acceptable range of aggression." After talking with Vergir, and I'm like, and Kip is just like, "Can I punch you?" Because like I have been lobbying for this for years, and I realized I was wrong, only for you to flip your position. Are you kidding me, dude?
Yes.
I'm like, these people owe Kip Duran an apology. Like they call him like an aggressive monster, but he's
I would agree that they owe him an
Whole bunch
apology.
of Imperials under the influence of Sith Lord. I don't feel
and
too bad.
I would argue this about Vergir though, because I mentioned this earlier in the video. So she willingly chose to go with the Vaughn, correct?
With the vague details we have, yes. As far as we're
And
there from
within
the
all
planet.
the 30 years she was away, she never thought to warn the galaxy of their coming to make, and she could have made her escape at any time.
Could she?
Yes.
It seems very likely she took the embrace of pain, and they probably wanted to make sure she was trustworthy, whatever.
Oh
extent
yeah,
that-
but again, because she was so careful in, because you saw how she acted in Traitor, she could have escaped at any friggin' time. It was clear that to me at least that
I would
even
assume that she could.
yeah, even among with the, which means she chose to let trillions die just to peddle her philosophy and satisfy her ego. Meaning, by proxy, she has a larger body count than Luke Skywalker or Kip Duran combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the moment they came back to the galaxy in full force, she definitely is responsible.
Even before that, because they were in the galaxy, but they were close enough to the edge that she could have come back and warned people.
They were sending scouts. They weren't in the galaxy yet. Specifically, Vergir's with like the main crew that didn't show up till the start of New Jedi Order, or after Vector Prime, I should say.
My point being is that at any time she could have gone back and warned people. She says she's not loyal to the New Republic. She's loyal to the old. You were not even loyal to the old Republic.
That's another thing that I think is an issue with John Williams, because that doesn't make sense with the Vergier we get in Traitor. It doesn't seem like she was ever. It seemed like she was disillusioned with just the Jedi and Sith in general with their philosophy. This book tries to make it sound like she just had issues only with how the prequels were run and not how the Jedi themselves are. But Traitor definitely makes it seem like she just has an issue with the philosophy in general. So it's like it makes it confusing. What are you trying to?
So
say,
is she a regretful Jedi, or is she a whiny baby like Kreia? Is what you're trying to tell me?
Well, yeah.
Because disillusionment like that is just being a whiny baby, as far as I'm concerned.
She does sacrifice herself. I don't know if Kreia would have necessarily gone all that way. She said she would.
Oh, she saved a small group of Jedi in comparison to the trillion she let die. Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, Alex. I know this is your KFC.
What?
This is you and a lot of people's bird waifu. But if people can go hardball on Kip Duran for something he did while under the influence, I'm just saying, if people can go hardball on Kip Duran for something he did while under the influence of an ancient Sith spirit, I can go hardball on people's bird that they think is Jesus.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
the people that hate on Kip are super silly. They always mention the Sun Crusher and forget the fact that it was all Imperials, which fair enough, it was like an academy. They weren't necessarily fit for duty yet. But also, he was like literally possessed by a Force demon. I don't know how he could be held accountable for 99% of that. So he wouldn't have done that under normal circumstances. He just wouldn't.
No, matter of fact, after he broke free, the dude felt nothing but remorse. He almost sacrificed himself, tossing the Sun Crusher into a black hole.
Yeah.
But again, like that's I'm not trying to less. It's just no matter which version of the philosophy I hear, whether it's from Destiny's Way or from Traitor, I don't like Vergier's philosophy. I think it's fundamentally wrong and against the theme of Star Wars.
I agree with you.
I understand why people like it, because it's challenging. It challenges preconceived notions, which is primarily what the authors that did it were trying to do. And when I spoke to Stover at the 2025 con, I asked him which book he wrote was the most of what he wanted to do, and he said everybody's favorite, Traitor.
Yeah. He said that at the 2023 one as well, because
oh really?
He said what he loved about that book was that he doesn't like setting things up a lot. He doesn't like having to explore a bunch of and so where the placement of his book was, all the exposition, all the stuff you need to know happened in previous books. And he also didn't get to tell anything of the future story for the rest of it. So he only had to tell this small snippet. And so you just had to tell people like where his book ended, and that was it. Other than that, he was free to kind of
I'm just saying, like I get why Traitor is a lot of people's number ones, because it's a decent book.
I would say it's probably the most literary out of most of the tie-in fiction that is Star Wars.
And it's such a small scale, but we've already given it its praise due. I want to talk about Destiny's Way.
Oh, for sure. We were just talking about this year, so naturally it goes back to that again and again. But
but this is just like, no matter which book, because I didn't know what to make of her throughout the previous books. I knew she was going to be interesting, but like I didn't know she was going to be like. And again, I don't even hate her anymore. I just dislike her. Like,
yeah.
But yeah. And I did this during my Traitor stream when we're talking about Jason going to the dark side. I'm like, I offered up the question: how? Let's say Vergier is not a monster. Let's say she literally just wanted to teach Jason how to think beyond. She introduced she introduced the concept of transgression, line stepping.
Yeah.
How does she know that he's just going to stop there? That he is not
it's
going to
purely
find.
faith. She just has faith that he is the one that won't, which is faith misplaced.
Yeah.
But she truly believes Jason's that good of a person.
I feel like if she had survived, post NJO, she probably would have seen how far he'd gone and realized just how severely she screwed up.
Yeah. Well,
But
then
she
would allowed him to go that far if she had been around. Because we haven't gotten to it yet. You'll get to it. You haven't read those books yet. My argument has always been because she's not around, all it takes is somebody really good at manipulation, on par with Jason, because he gets pretty good at it himself.
Yeah.
To be like, well, what if this is what Vizier wanted for you? Because Vizier is probably the most influential person in his life. Outside of pretty much anyone, I think it's probably her that's done the most for his future
So
growth.
Vizier wanted him to be a dark monster that eventually murders his aunt.
Right? Not what I think she wanted, but I think that all I'll say is that that series begins with the motivation by Jason.
If you need to go, Net, go ahead. We'll keep going.
Yeah, I'm about to crash. So yeah.
All right, Net. We'll keep. Thanks for coming on, man. It's good having you back.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah. But I was just going to say that the series begins, the initial road to hell is that I need to keep my uncle safe. That's initially the motivation, right? And people think
the road to hell paved with good intentions. Yeah.
And the people think it's a contradiction later because he becomes more Sithy. But like, no, that's because Vizier's philosophy is wrong. And the more you indulge in the Sith philosophy or dark side tendencies, the more it actually corrupts your thought process. So it begins as something good and quickly devolves into every other Sith, because that's just how the Force works, and people don't like it.
Yeah, and here's the thing: a lot of people criticize Denning for bringing it, like I said, for bringing it back to, and like I said, Lucina wanted to make Plagueis morally gray. But the problem with that is, again, Lucasfilm putting the kibosh on that. He's stripped. I'm pretty sure something from George would have said, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, Anakin's a good person, but once he turns to the dark side, he's doing evil, dark things. He's not a good person. It is a transition. That's another thing. Anakin represses his anger emotions so much to try to be this good Jedi. People also think it's an inconsistency, or they think it's stupid in Episode 3 when he goes on a dime to just slaughtering children. But that's literally the point, because he spent so long repressing it that when he finally indulged in it, it was over time, compensating for all the times he didn't indulge a little bit. And so he just descended instantly.
It's like the first time you try a hardcore drug like heroin or something like that.
Yeah.
You resisted it for so long, and a lot of people don't want to think that they have a problem, but of course they do.
Yeah.
So let me get back to it. Luke tells Nyler to let Vizier go, as she won't tell anyone anything she doesn't want to. Yeah, pretty much. Mara Spy.
Real quick, I was so frustrated with this book because it made complete sense in Traitor. I mean, it didn't make sense, but I understood why she was being so opaque in that book. But now she's with the good guys. There's virtually no reason to be this obtuse. You could just tell people what you want, but instead you still talk in riddles. It's really annoying in this book.
Yeah. Well, I think people thought that I would like her by the end of this book. They're like, you'll like her by the end of this. I'm like, no, she's still a nonsensical speaking. She thinks she Yoda, but she not. Basically, that's if I'm going to use the most slangy term. She thinks she Yoda, but she not. My boy Alex is back. Yes, Webslinger. Mara spots Yuzun Vong spies with Lando's YVH mouse droids. Now that was a clever invention. The YVH mouse droids. That's something I was not expecting. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They managed to adapt Imperial mouse droids to track Vaughn, and that's something you wouldn't see every day. So I'm like, okay. So let's see. Lando and Card grease the wheels of democracy. Military appropriations bill passes. Trust Graffi's speech. Jaina given furlough to see. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is Lando and Card blackmail and bribe senators. The political tide turns against Fior Roden, which we knew it were. We knew it would. See, this is what I mean by morally gray storytelling that I like. Criminals greasing the wheels so that the good candidate can win. Because they know things are screwed otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell Fior Roden was pissed about it too.
Nothing
Let's see.
Borsk last one.
Mara
Rest in
pursues
peace.
Vong in submersible. The Vong target Cal Omos's house. Mara takes down the Vong sub on her own. Cal Omos is evacuated. Right after that, Cal Omos is made chief of state. So, like, yay! Lando and Mara argue. No, Luke and Mara argue with Vergier about Jedi marriage. Oh yeah, she's basically lecturing them about the dangers of dynasties. You shouldn't be having children.
That was another thing that I was like, so you don't like the prequel Jedi, but you're gonna stick to the stupid children rule? I just found that so fun. What? And I know that wasn't a good idea. It was just like
Vergier in this book, Vergier in this book is less nuanced, I guess, and more like that cranky old woman in the nursing home pointing at Cloud and shaking a fist at it.
I mean, there's an interesting point to be made about the fact that if you think about it, pretty much from the prequels onwards, the one changing the course of history for the rest of the timeline is entirely Skywalkers and Solos. Sure, but like you undercut it by the stupid, oh, this is why no Jedi should have children or whatever, and it's like, why? Why are you saying this dumb thing? Like you're so wise, or at least you seem so wise in Traitor, and they're going to say something so dumb in the next book.
Yeah, well, I thought she would lead into something like, like because Jason had discussed Anakin, because she I guess she had met Anakin Skywalker, but she's like, she was like, oh, what a waste, like what a waste of talent.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to complain about the past Jedi, and now you're going to complain about the future Jedi for having children. But in a sense, I kind of understand the dangers of dynasty.
Yeah.
And so Luke and Vergier warns of Ben being a threat. Luke counters with, in a galaxy full of Yuuzhan Vong. That actually made Vergier pout a little bit. Like I said, she feels in this book, by this point, she feels less like someone who's trying to tell you riddles or something like that, and more like that cranky old woman telling you shouldn't tie your shoelaces a certain way. You should button up your shirt.
It's really annoying. I loved her in pretty much every book prior. Let me get to this book, and I'm just constantly getting annoyed with the little things that were needless that didn't need to be put in there. That it felt like John Williams didn't, but it felt like he put little things in there to directly just to piss me off with Vergier, and I'm like, why, why even put that in there? So
I think he was just trying to show that Vergier, like I get what Stover was trying to do, but I think he was just trying to show that Vergier, like either he was trying to keep her mysterious, but just made her look like you've seen that Simpsons thing where old man yells at Cloud, shaking. She just kind of came off as that. Only in this instance, this old man yells at young kids.
yeah.
But yeah, I think he was either trying to keep the nuance or trying to show that her nuance is nothing more than parlor tricks.
Yeah, and I'm honestly leaning toward that. And the issue is then it kind of becomes a thing of like, as I'm saying, like the inconsistencies between different authors, and you got like this. It's kind of like it's a smaller scale because it's not the whole story. It's just like one individual character. But then it's
Yeah.
almost kind of like the sequel trilogy, where like no one agreed on what Vajir's supposed to be. So you have this
Yeah.
conflicting, tone with her. So.
Well, Stover, not Stover. Lucino seemed like he was early on with Agents of Chaos. Seemed like he was trying to imply like that she was like a Jedi, and it was nice to help her kind once again for the brief time that she's there. And then in Star by Star, when she pops up again, she's kind of portrayed as like this mysterious figure that you don't know, like despite her claiming to be a Jedi, you don't really know whose side she's on. And then in Traitor, you know whose side she's on. She's on her own side. And she's just kind of playing the game.
Yeah.
And then here, she's just like a cranky old woman with parlor tricks. So Vergere has been very inconsistent from the start.
Yeah.
As to what she's supposed to be. And I guess that makes her interesting because you don't know. She's like someone with like DID. You don't know what personality is going to pop up.
Yeah.
You just hope it's a friendly one. So far, I'll admit, I kind of just for those small moments where she gets stumped a little like a cranky old woman, I do kind of like Vergere.
I mean,
Vergere is like that boomer that thinks Zoomers are dumb for not moving out and buying a house.
Just go out and buy a house. So
Why you gotta disrespect the homie Vergere? Because Vergere yelled at me to button up my shirt. Okay, I already buttoned it. You know what? She's like, you ever seen that? She's like George's mom or dad. In Seinfeld. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Yes.
There's there's an episode where George's wife Susan has or fiance Susan has a doll that looks just like his mom. And so he takes it to a restaurant and he hears the doll talking to him in his head in his mom's voice. He's going, "Why do you eat so much? You can't even taste. Don't tell me how to eat." "How long have you had that shirt? You need to buy a new shirt." That's just kind of the vibe I'm getting off Vergere is that she's just finding reasons to complain. But let's see, Vergere teaches Silgal the healing technique. Oh yeah, that was a good nice thing she did. So Shimra angry at Savong Law and Namanor. He recommends they work together for their decisive strike against the New Republic. Yeah, okay. Luke selects his Jedi Council. Okay. This was a very smart idea on Luke's part. Because before, when they made a Jedi Council, it was like, what, 12 of like the top masters. This one, he decides to integrate beings from the government. So, in that sense, they're technically still included in Jedi affairs.
Mm-hmm.
Like high ranking, like, you've got this senator who's in charge of, or who represents the Senate. You've got this one who represents, colonial affairs. You've got this one who represents, military intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. So he goes to his selection of Jedi Masters. See, we've got Kent Hamner, good choice. Saba Sabatine, my lizard waifu, if you go.
Into the reptiles.
Then they talk about either Cam or Tian. And then they bring up Kip Duran, and of course Mara does a double take. And she's like, "Look, I'd rather have he's kind of come under our banner now, and if he is going to be like mischievous with anything he does, I'd like to have him close. Besides, we can always outvote him if there's an issue. So I'm like, okay, so Kip Duran on the Jedi Council. I love it.
Agreed.
But Fuhrer Rodin got angry with Luke and tells Cal, I refuse any government position, which, honestly, this would have been a good time for Luke to have gone after him and tell him, you should put him on the Jedi Council. So he knows. But, you know, of course, they need someone who's just like a jerk for the sake of being a jerk, so they give it to Fuhrer Rodin. So not that I'm complaining about the writing, that's kind of a common trope when it comes to Star Wars. You need like a senator character who's like a jerk, because even the Black Fleet Crisis had it. You had Senator Paramus.
Right.
He was like a jerk for the sake of being a jerk. So Luke asks Jason if he can teach his Vong sense to others. Jason suggests maybe to Tahiri, as she's had experience. Jason hangs out with Danny Kui at the reef, as well as her friend, the Ishitib. Forgot her friend's name, but yeah, like I didn't fully understand this scene. Was it just like to show that, oh, there's no feelings between Jason and Danny or something? They're just friends. Was this them trying to hammer that in or something?
That's gonna happen later, so
Yeah.
I won't say anything more than that. But no, it's probably just to establish that they're still interested in actually, if anything.
All right. So
Really
let's
annoying.
see.
I hate her for romantic interest.
Yeah. Jaina and Solo family reunion. Jason and Jaina argue about the time they have to spend. Jason talks to Leia about Jaina. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Admiral Akbar's intel about a bold strategy to defeat the Vong. I thought this was a very clever tactic, doing like little quick hit and runs like Thrawn did until they can find like the big score where they can actually hit the enemy where it hurts. So I thought that was a nice detail, nice touch. And then, of course, both on the Jedi Council as well as the military, they have the character Diff Scar. I don't think I've ever heard of Diff Scar before this book, but he's like the head of like the scientific military intelligence or something like that.
I think this might be his first appearance. I'm not quite sure.
So they have the first council meeting. Council discusses Luke's change, view, and aggression. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. When Kip Duran just like loses his crap and is like, okay, what? Suddenly your stance on aggression has changed, and you're saying I was right from the start? So let's see. Oh yeah, and then they discuss Admiral Kerfi's a cry and a knighting ceremony, which I don't know if I should take this personally, but it feels like another jab at Kevin J. Anderson's stories, because they already kind of had one in Young Jedi Knights, but I guess that doesn't count for whatever reason. Despite the fact that they fought like an Imperial Legion, a racist group, and Black Sun. But now, only now are they ready to become Jedi Knights. Say again?
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, sorry, my blanked out.
I'm just saying, like, you know, no, they didn't go through enough trials when they were kids. Only now that they've lost so much are they ready to be Jedi Knights. You're saying we've sent Padawans on a suicide mission? God, okay. So they do the knighting ceremony. Luke gives like a little piece of advice to like each one, to like Tenel Ka. He gives like kind of like understanding of her responsibility. To Alema Rar, he gives compassion. He's like, you've lost someone, but you're not alone. So, and he does a similar thing for Tahiri as well. He gives advice to Jason to keep asking questions, which evidently is going to bite him in the butt later. He gives confidence to Zek in his choices, Techley his respect, and then just out of the blue, Jaina, you will never know peace. You will be known as the Sword of the Jedi.
Well, see, that's the big thing there, though. Was that Luke, or was that the Force speaking through him?
You can make the argument that it was the Force speaking through him. You can also make the argument that Vergere somehow manipulated him from behind the scenes. But
I don't see what her motivation would be to manipulate him in that instance.
I don't know.
Also, sadly, at least for me personally, we have several stories after New Jedi Order, and I still, to this day, feel that pronouncement has not been earned yet, and I am really annoyed about that. I feel like
I get you.
Yeah. Well, Jaina never gets, I think, enough attention to warrant that comment. I know it's meant for the future, but I don't feel that future ever came, and it might not ever now because he was kind of.
It might have come in Legacy of the Force with when she had to kill Womp Womp, but
yes, but even then, it doesn't feel grand enough for what he pronounces here. I don't know. It feels like it needs to be more.
Yeah, I do kind of see what you're saying. So let's see. And then Leia asks, it's like that Family Guy bit about like Abraham about to sacrifice his son Isaac.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to tell me what that was about? So it's in this instance, it's like Leia telling Luke, what was that? You just told my daughter she'll be the Sword of the Jedi and she will never know peace. It's like, yeah, I don't understand it either. Please don't ask me about that right now.
It just also doesn't seem like something Luke. It just doesn't sound like Luke, which is another reason why I feel like it's the Force.
Yeah, it might very well have been the Force, but yeah, like you said, we never really. I think she was supposed to get that in the Sword of the Jedi book trilogy, but we'll never get that now. But
that's true.
Leia and Luke, talk about what happened with Jaina and how Lando and Card got Cal elected. Of course, espionage. Jason and Jaina talk about love and her resignation to death. Jason and Vergere discuss war, Diff Scar, and how they understand the book. So yeah, this is an instant where I felt like Vergere was actually morally in the right. Because she started looking at Diff Scar with like suspicion. Because he was meddling with like DNA. And she felt like that it's kind of like the opening of Pandora's box. She's like, there's some things that aren't meant to be opened.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to take a little break from the novel and do Elysia.
Yeah.
Because this is roughly about the point where it happens.
The side
Between
quest.
chapters 21 and 22.
Yeah. Let me get to the starting point. Hang on. So we have Thraken Sal Solo going to meet with Shimra, Nominor, and Onimi. And I guess his assistant got murdered after they tortured her. And they find out that he was the one that pushed the button that like pushed Anakin to wiping out a bunch of Vong at center point. So I can't help but I can't feel sorry for Thraken because he's always kind of been a jerk. So to see him kind of get this, they're like, so we need a president. Basically, Shimra and Nominor are like, we need a president for the Peace Brigade. And it was originally supposed to be Vicky Shesh, but she's dead. So, like, okay, let's punish this guy. So what we'll do is we'll make peace with his Corellian world peace, which is just submission. And he will become president of the Peace Brigade, whether he likes it or not. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, this sounds about. He's like, but if I become president of the Peace Brigade, he's like, I'll lose political clout because we're not supposed to be like. We're supposed to be neutral in this comp. I thought it was funny that Shimra sent Onimi to strike him in the kidney. Like, ah! Jason and Jaina and the Jedi. Okay, so yeah, they discuss plans for attack, and Jason is still kind of weary of Kip Duran because he still doesn't know that Kip sort of made like a whole redemption. But they're talking about hitting Elysia, and straight up, Graffi is like, yeah, we need to bomb it. He says, I don't want to kill all these slaves, but they're going to die in like weeks anyway. So Jason offers the suggestion of, well, why don't we just capture it? And he's like, well, that's a larger spending of resources, and there's no guarantee. He's like, well, you're supposed to have trust in our battle mill. So they start discussing that, and then they start discussing, after the meeting's over, Jason starts talking with Jaina about, so how are things going? Previously, yeah, she mentioned that she had a thing for Jag Fell. And Jason's like, okay, really? And then she mentions how Kip Duran sort of has a thing for her, which, yeah. Yeah. Like, I get it. It's supposed to mirror the feelings that Han had for Leia or something like that, but when he was offering these feelings, she was still way too young. Not Leia, I mean Jaina, but so it's yeah. So yeah, so and then he basically, one of the things Jason finds out is that Tahiri's a squad leader, so he was shocked at that. They're like, they even called them Barefoot Squadron, which I thought was funny. So yeah, they go to Jaina. Jason's like, I don't really want to join a squadron because I still don't know if I'd work in anybody's squadron. That's the first thing. And so another thing was like, Jaina finally goes to her quarters and she gets surprised by Jag and then slams him into a bed. He's like, should I surprise you more often then now? And Jason's just like, are you under attack? Should I come back later? They send him away, and then I guess was it Jaina and them kind of kiss, and then she beats him in Sabak, I think, right? I can't. Yeah, it was Sabak. So then it shifts over to Elysia, and Brecken has hired a mercenary by the name of Daga Marl. And I didn't think I was going to like this whole dynamic, but their dynamic in this short story was actually very funny. It doesn't start off that way. It's like, you're kind of like the best assassin. I need you to protect me from other members of the Peace Brigade because they're going to try to assassinate me. Nobody likes the fact that I'm in power here. I don't even like the fact that I'm in power here. So he meets with Mal Law, I believe it is. Yeah, it's Mal Law. Another member of Clan Law that's still doing whatever. So they meet with Mal Law and then talk about where they're going to build like a temple to, I think it was Yun Harla or something. Not Yun Harla, so Yun Yamka, because I think that's the one Mal Law was worshipping. Shoot, he's let's see. Yeah, building a temple, signing a treaty with the Chief of State of the New Republic. Graffi's fleetalized the Chief of State, and then they are signing a treaty with the supposed Chief of State of New Republic. Three guesses of who it is.
It's the loser.
Yeah, the one still claiming to be in charge. It's shocked at the unexpected attack. Maul Law leads ground troop, and then Thracken's like, "Yes, everybody in the Senate, go into your hiding bunker. I'll meet you there." And then he tells Daga, "Okay, let's grab the spear. We're gonna get out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here anymore. I have more credits on like Corellia or something. I'll get you out of it." So they plot an escape. Vong Force. Jason covers Vale, take out fire on her tail. Jason uses a shadow bomb to damage a Vong frigate. Vale gets damaged. Jason faces off of aggression in Elysia's atmosphere. So yeah, Gretchen attacks his fighter and it gets damaged. Jason defeats the Gretchen, but is forced to fly back to Graffi's ship, damaged with Vale. Yes, okay, so here's the dynamic that made me laugh was their speeder breaks down and catches on fire, and so Fracken offers okay, let's hide in the bushes, and when someone else's speeder comes along, we'll steal that one. So they wait, and nothing happens, and then TIE fighters fly overhead, and then the New Republic lands, and he's like, okay, drop your weapons. We're going to pretend that we are slaves surrendering. And then Daga, they do it. They pretend like they're like a slave married couple or something like that. And they're like, "Oh, thank the Force, you're here. We need you to get us out of here." And then Jaina shows up and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's my cousin right there. He's looks like he's head of the Peace Brigade now." He's like, "I am not. I was brought here against my will." But I genuinely I enjoyed the dynamic between Fracken and Daga, and I kind of wish there was like a you guys ever heard of the movie Rooster Cogburn? He has to escort that lady, and they kind of fall. I kind of wish there was something like that with Daga and Fracken, just like a little little funny side adventure. But
Fracken to find love.
Surprisingly, yes. Even if it's like some random soulless mercenary. Think about it. They would actually kind of make a good match. She has no heart. He has no compassion. He's kind of an idiot. She's kind of an assassin. She'd most likely kill him for doing something stupid. I think the relationship would work. That's all I'm saying. But let's see. So they hide, and New Republic forces find them. Jaina and Loy arrest them. So Jaina's with a guy on the ground named General Jamiro, and she's also with Loey, and they start escorting Fracken back to the capital, and they get ambushed by a few Peace Brigade patrols, obviously. She's like, "Can you?" She's like, "Can you tell them to surrender?" And he just like glares at her, like, "You really think they're gonna listen to me?" But they finally get back to the Senate, and lo and behold, the chief of state is none other than Poe, and they remove him from the premises and erase arrest the Senate, the Peace Brigade Senate. And then Maul Law, who's been waiting for this, summons a Yuzan Vong force that finally arrived to attack. But they're being strangely cautious, like they're not attacking majorly. They're sending a patrol here and a patrol there, and Graffi is countering. And then Jason gets back there with Vale. He goes up to the bridge, and he realizes... Now, keep in mind, Jaina and them are still trapped on the ground, but he realizes that there's another Vong force in waiting behind this like black veil or something like that, and he's like, they're going to come in through there, so that's where you need to hit. And then Jag, I think he does like a rescue run, like a rescue bombing run to try to help get Jaina, Loey, and them out of there. And it was danger close too, so it was very, Oh, one thing I did like within that whole within that whole thing. Okay. Like one thing I did really like within that whole thing was with Plo trying to get them. Yes, he's like just surrender to the Vong forces. You know, I'm sure I can negotiate. And then Thraken does something like just out of the blue. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically just tells him, "Shut up, fish." He's like, "They're not going to listen to a dumb fish squid head like you, so shut up."
Mm-hmm.
So they managed to get off Elysia, you know, capture the Senate, capture Thraken, and defeat, I think, one small Vong force, and then hold their ground until they can pull away, which is. And then I think, how did Elysia end? They had a debrief after on Walrus, and that's when Jason kind of agrees to sort of be like, I guess you could see like the fleet war coordinator for the New Republic, for the Krafish forces. And he kind of did feel sorry for Thraken. He's like, God, what's the term I'm looking for here? He's like, yeah, he's like, I think he was telling the truth when he says he wasn't like a Vong collaborator, but he actually was kind of brought there against his will. And they're like, yeah, but we're not going to let him off that easy. And of course, Thraken already planned.
A collaborator. Huh? So I wouldn't think he would be a collaborator, considering how xenophobic he is. So, you know.
Yeah, probably.
I gotta say,
he does.
Oh, sorry.
Well, he was already planning his escape, so.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, I think Thraken's really underrated. I really love him as like an antagonist. I think he's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he is. He is. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the Corellian trilogy, I did enjoy his moments in that. He's kind of a sociopath when he was a child, though. If you've read the Han Solo AC, he was nuts. So, yeah, it's a month later, and they're battling above Duro. So now we're back to the Walter John Williams novel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Battle above Duro a month later. So yeah, Jason sort of becomes the. I guess you could say Jason was technically through this force meld. He was technically the Yamosk of the New Republic fleet. So see, another Vong fleet arrives. Admiral Kafri calls for the retreat, and then Akbar unveils his trap at Ebok 9. He's like, okay, so, you know, our surprise forces are going to come out through here and through here, but we need to have a presentable bait. And so the presentable bait is obviously going to be the twins and Cal Omos. But of course, they never get that far because Div Scar reveals that he's like, oh yeah, I've already got something. We don't even need Akbar's plan. They're like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, so I've been working with the Chiss, and we have developed a virus called Protocol Red, you know, straight up biological warfare, that will kill the Vong. And of course, Luke is completely against this. I forgot his name. Even the Wookiee senator is like, he's like, yeah, you can't guarantee that this is controlled. And Luke compared this to, you know, something that Palpatine or Isard would do, or maybe more Palpatine, but this is something that Isard would do, especially since she did create a virus that targeted specific species. So they were like, we need to put this to a vote, and despite them putting it to a vote, Cal Omos pulls out like, I'm still approving of this. This council is literally just, oh my God, what was the term he used? Provisional or something like that. So you guys don't get it. You guys don't get a vote. I'm still saying we need to use this. And so I'm like, oh wow, I didn't think Cal Omos lacked a backbone, but I guess every leader that has a little bit of cowardice in them. Going straight to biological warfare. So Luke tells Mara about Protocol Red, and I guess Vergere overhears it. So Luke ends up watching Vergere closely, while at the same time trying to convince Cal this is not a good idea. This is wrong. I know we're desperate, but we don't need to do this. So, and then Vergere decides to sabotage Protocol Red and or not Protocol Code Red or whatever. The Mountain Dew disease. Anyway, she decides to sabotage it, and Diff Scar brings in Luke and Mara and asks Cal Omos, or Cal Omos asks, like, did you tell her? And they're like, no, I think she just overheard it while I was discussing it with Mara. I don't, you know me, I don't like give out government secrets openly. But I guess he kind of lost clout with Cal Omos, even though, as far as I'm concerned, Cal Omos is a coward. That's just going to use a virus. But so they're like, okay, so it's going to take months for him to make a new virus. And so they're like, okay, so we better proceed with Akbar's plan. So, let's see. Then Jason attempts to teach Tahiri how to do the whole Vong sense thing, because she agrees to do it. And then he gets a message from Vergere to meet him on Kashyyyk on the ground. So he goes there, and she tells him exactly what happened, what she did. And she's like, "Hey, can you smuggle me aboard the New Republic cruiser?" Like, I guess I can try. But yeah, this is literally, I think, the only time I've actually agreed with Vergere that this was this was actually the right call. So let's see. Luke convinces Han and Leia to lead Lando and Card's mercenary fleet at the trap using blackmail that is their children. So yeah, they pretty much tell him, yeah, you're kind of needed to run our fleet, because if you don't, your kids might die. Han's like, oh, we'd gotten out of all this. Leia threatens to hit Luke. When this is over, he says Kip has first dibs. Kip tells, so yeah. I'm gonna read some of these notes here. Kip tells Jason that the Jedi must find and apprehend Vergere. Jason hides her. Jason, in order to hide Vergere, tries to schedule Vong sense training with Tahiri at places other than his quarters, which makes sense. Jaina follows Farlander to Ebac 9. Jason is there as well. They are the bait. So they basically figure out that they're the bait. Jason and Vergere talk about Jaina and whether Jason can help her. So yeah, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, Vergere was like trying to convince him not to care about his sister's fate. I didn't know if you had anything to say about this, Alex.
Sorry, one more time.
I said for whatever reason, Vergere seemed to like trying to convince Jason not to care about his sister.
Oh yeah, I I don't know if it's necessarily inconsistent. I just don't. I don't feel like she would say that personally.
Yeah,
So I have issues with that. I
yeah.
think she genuinely really cares about Jason. Personally, it's my interpretation. I don't think she'd say something like that to him. Sorry, when you first said it, it was kind of cutting out for me on my end.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's why I didn't hear you the first time.
So Shimra, Nominor, Savang La discuss the location, Cal Omos, and the Jedi. So this is when they start the Battle of Ebok 9. Because they've lured the Vong there. Jaina's pilot Vale finally dies. You know, the Nemoidian that was in her unit. Which is, I guess, is the second time she's lost a pilot. There was that other girl, I forgot her name. You know who I'm talking about, though. It was like the second time she lost a pilot under her command. Or like a big one. And then Krafi's group arrives with twin suns. Jason guides the Jedi battle meld. Farlander has unexpected maneuvers. Jaina getting shot at from all sides. Han and Leia's fleet arrive. Then someone, I think one of his underlings suggests they're like, you know, hey, this could be a trap. And then Savang Law's like, no, this is all just a convenience. They just happen to be in the area. So there's no way this is an ambush. So he's completely caught off guard. Then Luke arrives with Garm Bel Iblis's fleet, because that's where he ended up leaving. He went to go get Garm off of Fondor. You know, take his fleet to there. So like, oh, this is our big choke point when we can ambush the Yuzon Vong. So Savang La realizes, he's like, oh crap, I fell into this trap. My career as War Master is basically over. If I retreat and leave now, I'm going to be sacrificed in disgrace, like my bloodline cursed, basically. And so, speaking of, though, he did mate with a subaltern, so that kind of leaves like any potential heirs. Made me wonder if Lian Law from the Legacy comic series was like his descendant. That wouldn't surprise me there. So yeah, Luke, Bel Iblis, and Akbar arrive. Savang La feels followed trap. Jaina gets damaged and told to return to the Ebok 9 base. Nominor, this is something that caught me off guard. Because this was Nominor's blunder, he had to knock out, I think it was Chute Skell, his superior. So he's now a fugitive from his own people now.
Yeah, Nominor truly being the little finger of this series.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay, so he's the New Republic isn't going to accept him because of all the seeds he's sown.
Yeah. So
He should be asking himself if Vergier needs an ally or something, but
well, by the end of this, it's great to ask. But
yeah. So yeah, Nominor flees. Savang La decides to sacrifice and charges Ebak 9. Jason tells Han and Leia to intercept Law's suicide maneuver. You see, so I initially thought that Savang La was planning on crashing his ship into the moon, but it turns out he was intending to land there. Jason grabs an X-Wing. Han and Leia challenge... Leia's fleet challenges Savang La's assault. Jaina wants to flee with her pilot, but Farlander forbids it, ordering them to deep into Ebok 9 bunker, which makes sense because there's no oxygen on Ebok 9, so they need to go underground. Let's see. Vergier argues with Jason about his destiny and that he shouldn't go. Jason threatens See, this is the indication that kind of gave me the another sort of implication that kind of gave me, rather than listen to Vergier and he actually threatened her. So that was kind of another one of my big implications this early on, that he's willing to step over the line to protect people. I'm like, okay, Vergier, this is what you wanted. He literally just threatened you because he wants to protect someone he cares about. So, so yeah. Han and Leia pull insane maneuvers, manage to buy enough time for Bel Iblis's forces to arrive. Savong Law orders the remaining of his forces to retreat once he and his warriors land on Ebac 9, challenges Jedi to fight the Hunters. Savong Law learns after his retreat, over a third of the Vong force was wiped out. So yeah, this battle has cost the Vong greatly. So Savong Law was indeed correct. He's like, even if I survive today, I'm a dead man. So it makes sense he would go straight into Jedi hunting. Jaina challenges Savong Law and allows him to land on Ebac 9. Luke warns Jason. Oh no, Jason challenges Savong Law. Luke warns Jason to be careful and that the fleet's on his way. Savong Law realizes both the twins are here to sacrifice. So yeah, that was his attempt at redemption right there. He's like, oh, I lost the fleet and I very well have lost us the war, but at least I can sacrifice the Jedi's twins and give us a Pyrrhic victory. Let's see. Jason distracts the Vong and Voxen. Jane and her unit bring down a roof that holds off Vong. So yeah, the Vong go searching the base and the tunnels. She orders them to retreat so they don't. So yes, some of her squad mates get killed and injured, so she tells them to run. Luke contacts Jaina to hang on and that they're coming. Vergier contacts Savong Law and she accepts his challenge to hunt Jedi. So yeah, this is the moment she claimed to be a Jedi. I'm assuming this also frustrated you, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I knew what they were doing with it, or I kind of figured what they were doing with her, but it's just I've already said everything I said earlier, so there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just confusing on what they want her to be. Is she her own independent new thing? Is she secretly a Jedi that's just being really weird? She's secretly a Sith. I don't know. The book doesn't know. The whole 19 books trying to figure it out. But I think John
the whole
Williams
19 folks never figured it out either.
Yeah, I think John Williams leans on she's more leaning Jedi. I think Stover is strictly she is neither, and everything else in between is a variation of those two. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I think that's what John Williams is trying to suggest.
Yeah. Savong Law allows Vergier to land. This is something that did surprise me, was her charging the A-Wing into the base and killing all those Vong. Like, I thought she wanted to handle things peaceably. I guess not.
Yeah.
But this is pretty much when Jason realizes he's kind of talking to her like her spirit or whatever, because like, oh, you're dead, aren't you? And she's like, yep. Sorry if I'm just kind of paraphrasing it. Vacuum space kills most of the Vong and their pets. Jason uses a force shield. Jedi survives with their vac suit. Vergier ensures Jason and Jaina live. Jason realizes Vergier is dead. Jason explains what happened to Luke. Luke sends rescue teams. Luke and Bel Iblis offer the Vong surrender terms, but for their own sake, the Vong refuse and die. So yeah, they refuse even in death. Akbar blames himself for what happened at Ebok 9. Because it wasn't a complete victory. There was some losses, or near losses at least, that they didn't anticipate. Winter and Mara help him home. Savong Lost survived due to an Ugolith massacre. Throws Barash jelly at Jaina and Loey. Injures Loey with dead Amphistaff, who accidentally knocks out Tassar. Jaina struck Savong Law, moves in for the kill. Tassar tries to shoot him. Savong Law, but he tries to shoot Savong. Tries to shoot Savong Law, but he can't. Decides to help Loey. Jaina tries her best to fight, despite being stuck in Barash jelly. Gets her saber past his legs and pulls Plasma Blade back through his throat. So yeah, she uses her saber to launch the blade through his throat, and so that's technically the end of Savong Law. I'm not sure if this end is like dignified or not, because it was kind of quick. Because I don't even think Yeoman Carr died this quickly. So I don't know if this is supposed to be considered a dignified death or not. Barash jelly freezes and breaks due to the vacuum of space. Jaina jokes about that's right. Literally after literally. So literally right after she defeated Savong Law, the Barash jelly breaks due to the vacuum of space. So she's joking about the timing. Luke and Cal talk about the establishment of the Galactic. Oh yeah, they talk about the establishment. I know you've heard this one. The Galactic Federation of Free Alliances. Nobody's going to talk about that? Okay.
Well, I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
GFFA.
the New Republic.
Oh, I mean,
on the words.
yeah, I mean that becomes a thing for pretty much the rest of the timeline. It's instead of the New Republic, we are now the New Galactic Alliance, whatever it says. But that kind of becomes a thing for the rest of the series. So I mean that is kind of a big deal, but also like just kind of a name change.
Nothing really changes for the most part. It's just that, if I recall correctly, like the Imperial Remnant is like partnered with them. They have like this relationship where they are one state, but at the same time, the Imperial Remnant has like this autonomy.
Well, I know they eventually go to be called the Galactic Alliance, but I know because I know I saw Matt Wilkins' review of it, so I've seen the GFFA Galaxy Far Far Away joke.
Yeah.
But so basically Luke asks Cal Omas, he's like, so are we still planning on using Alpha Red? He's like, no, there's been a change. I'm like, oh yeah. So now you grow a conscience. Then they talk about he talks to Jason about, Vergier's death and how he acted in haste. And again, Luke encourages him not to give up and to keep sort of keep doing what he does best. Jaina doesn't enjoy being the Sword of the Jedi. She's now a lieutenant colonel, which I guess that makes sense. She was a major before, so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then we get a POV back to Shimra near the end of the book, where he's straight up despairing over what happened with Savong Law, and the major loss, and Onimi's mocking him. He's like, "Yep, this is the pony we bet on." So this is where we're at. We got to double down and keep going. Hope that the bet rides forward, because he's like, well, what's the alternative? We say all this is fake.
Yep.
And so they go out there, and of course, like all of them are like, we'll hunt down the traitor Nama Nor, we'll keep fighting. So, but this is the turning point book. This is where the Vong have pretty much realized that it's starting to go down, or at least Shimra has started to realize that it's going downhill from here. If nothing else. So yeah, I love this book. This is like a lot of things like literally just happened in this book, and that's why it was such a breath of fresh air after 4 epilogues to Star by Star. So
Yeah, Destiny's Away is in many ways the opposite of Star by Star, as where Star by Star was the book in which the heroes lost. Destiny's Way was the book in which the heroes won, and this can also be shown through the sort of reverse journey Jason goes on, where he's missing, presumed dead in Star by Star, and he returns in Destiny's Way.
it was very much the turn of the tide.
Yep.
So any other thoughts on the book?
It's great to have Admiral Akbar back in the story.
Yeah.
For the brief time he was there, yeah.
Yeah, I think I can't remember if he actually dies in the book, but I think he, passed away like shortly after the events.
I'm guessing they'll have a mention of it when I get to Force Heretic that
Yeah.
they'll say he passed. Because I think Mon Mothma, didn't she die roughly during like the Dark Tide or Agents of I can't remember.
Before Vector Prime, because in Vector Prime there's a Star Destroyer named after her, ironically.
Well, I know that was used in the Enemy Lines duology.
I think she's because she retires around the Jedi Academy trilogy, because she's getting old. I think by like Vector Prime she isn't alive.
Yeah. But yeah, like I mean, just like with Star by Star, I wasn't really bored with this book. Like there wasn't parts that I was just like, they could have not used that. There was enough like interesting political intrigue in this book that kept me interested. I still think Star by Star is the better book, but this is definitely I definitely enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed like I don't know if I enjoyed it more than the Edge of Victory duology, but I definitely enjoyed it more than Dark Tide, Vector Prime, Traitor, and the first what was it? And the first Enemy Lines book.
Yeah, Rebel Dream.
Yeah, Rebel Dream. But yeah, this was that book. It'll probably be a while before I can start Force Heretic, because I've got to go through the novelization of Return of the Jedi, because I'm preparing for guys. If you want to tune in for a Walrus stream,
Yep.
Sorry, I had things popping up in my feed. But yeah, no, Walrus. It's in November, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to kind of give that a plug here. Also, check out Alex's Legends Wayback Machine streams. He and some others on there do some really great discussion there.
I appreciate that.
Well, I want to start giving like shout outs to people. I'd give shout outs to Yiannis, but like he's hardly. Also check out NetCat, because he does video game streams and occasionally does like his reactions to stuff and discussions to like movies and stuff like that. So And yeah, check out Walrus's content because I know you finished Dark Lords of the Sith. Are you on Sith War now?
Oh, I've got it all done. I just need to get the reviews out.
Ooh, okay. Oh, you're through Redemption too?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome! I can't
Yeah.
wait for those reviews, man. I
Yeah.
want to see what your thoughts on those. But yeah, it'll be a while before I can get to Force Heretic because I have to do all that Return of the Jedi stuff in preparation for your stream. But I'll try to get because the Force Heretic is going to be a two-parter. The first part I'm going to be doing the Equals and Opposites Kyle Katarn one-off comic and the first two Force Heretic books, and then the second one I'm going to do the short story Or Die Trying and the second Force Heretic or the third Force Heretic book.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you once again as usual.
Yeah. Thank you for
I know
having me.
life. I didn't know when we were going to be able to do this stream because I didn't know what life was going to toss at all of us around that time. I wanted to make sure everybody's schedule was good for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to be invited.
Yeah, honestly, I can't wait till I finish this series because, like I said, I was telling the others backstage. After I finish Unifying Force, I'm probably going to watch that NJO documentary, go over the NJO Bible, and just do like a retrospective on the series as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And we can like do like whatever final thoughts there for anybody who wants to pop on.
It's a good documentary by Vexen.
Yeah, I'm hoping that after I do the documentary, I can get him on and just get his kind of perspective. I'm in the server with him, so I'm hoping I can get him on.
I'm sure he'd be down.
Oh, I'm sure he would. But like I said, like every time last time I tell him like I want to watch your documentary, I really do, but I'm waiting till I finish this series. He's like, okay, do it. Oh, hey, Autotech. Yeah, you're just catching us at the end, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, hit me up sometime if you ever want to like pop on and discuss stuff. So yeah, thank you guys once again for popping on. Thank you, Yiannis. Thank you, Alex and Walrus, and please, and of course, NetCat, and please, subscribe to them. Click the bell. All that jazz. Get support these guys where you can. That's all I'm going to say right there, because they deserve it. They're great, nice, honest creators that, like anybody else, just talk about what they love. All right, so thanks again, guys. We will see you guys next time for the next NJO stream. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.